today we are on a trip from Orange County to the Bay Area to visit Trinity. We're taking the Type R. It's my first road trip with the Type R. This trip is about 6 to 7 hours, 400-ish miles. I kind of just decided to do this trip on a whim. So literally last night I was like, you know, I think I'm gonna go up and visit. That's one of the reasons I got this car, is so that, you know, I could make trips like this, travel. All I had at home before was the CRV, which is a huge shitbox, no AC, window doesn't roll down, bad axle, bad trans, head gasket is bad, it's constantly leaking and burning oil, it's just in bad shape, so it wouldn't be able to make this, you know, 400-mile drive. And of course I had the EG, but you know you can't take that thing anywhere without worrying about it getting stolen, right? So yeah, the Type R kind of fits the bill for that, right? It's reliable, I can actually just take it whenever I want and not worry about, like, you know, anything breaking down because it's a new car. Daily drive as a reliable commuter, and of course enjoy the car as a fun car for things like track days. Yeah, that's kind of the whole reason I got this car, right? Is to have a car that does it all. And yeah, I just wanted to document this first road trip experience with this car. 400-ish miles, 6 to 7 hours, so far so good, and I will continue to document the experience. So we are at our first stop of the trip. We're off the whatever exit onto the Tejon outlets. I go here because the restroom here, right here at this like mart, is super clean. It's a good place for snacks too. You got all the type of food you would need. The Type R has held up really well this whole time. So we came from OC area. We've driven a little over 100 miles to get where we are now at the Tejon outlets. It's about 94, 95 degrees out, and the car is not overheating or anything. We're gonna get some food and then get back on the road. A little less than 300 miles left. We are gonna be opting for Taco Bell. All right, got myself a Doritos Locos Tacos and a Baja Blast. Gonna scarf this down quickly out here so we don't get it, you know, all messy and dirty up the Type R. All right, so we are a few hours into the trip now, and I have to say, comfort mode is amazing, man. The suspension is so, it rides like a dream. And when you get coilovers on this car, or, you know, change the suspension, you lose access to that comfort mode, and you know, you kind of lose the car's ability to be a do-everything car. As it is, out of the box, out of the factory, it's so good for this road trip. Commuting, everything, comfort mode is such a blessing. And for that reason, you know, that's one of the reasons I really don't want to change out the suspension, even though of course I prefer if it looked a little bit lower, but the car just feels so good. I don't want to give that up. Hi! 386 mile road trip in the Type R, not a single hiccup on the way. Actually, there was a single hiccup, but I'll talk about that a little bit later on. We'll tuck the car away for the night, just let it chill out, and then we will probably take it out to go play in the Bay Area tomorrow.
Toward Treasure Island and your Buena Island.
Out here getting some shots of the car by the Bay Bridge. I'm thinking we're parked in a spot that we're not supposed to be, but we're just gonna be taking advantage of it until we get kicked out, right? So we found a really good low-key spot to take pictures with the Bay Bridge, but I had the front plate on, and unfortunately I forgot to bring my little mini screwdriver to take off the front plate, but I managed to find a tool, right? So through my keychain I have the Buster Sword. Thanks, Christina. And then the Art of Attack plaque is actually what was able to work as a screwdriver. Dude, look at this! So I was able to get the front plate off to get some nice pictures. House of Fine Arts, kind of parked illegally, but that's kind of the thing with this trip, right? Oh, that's a good shot. All right. Type R is parked and we're settling down to have a picnic at the Golden Gate Park.
These are so good. It's my third one.
You like the cookies? What about the pizza?
Oh, it's okay.
It's all right, huh?
Okay.
They went with a basil pesto sauce and red sauce and not nearly enough cheese. If you're gonna put green stuff on it, like basil pesto, you gotta go with tons of cheese, no red sauce, and ricotta. You gotta have ricotta cheese on there.
Let me show my bag of cookies.
Yeah, let's look at the cookies. Wow. Which one's the best one so far? Chocolate
Delish.
chip walnut? Nice.
10 out of 10.
Wow. That's a very impressive review. And finally, A good spot for the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, that is it for our trip in the Bay Area. Type R did a great job of getting us here and being the car that we took to adventure around in San Francisco. So, the Do Everything car. Big thanks to our friend Jeff for letting me tuck the car away at his place. It's a nice little area that I'm not worried about someone breaking into the car overnight and stuff. So, big thanks to our friend Jeff. All that's left to do is to drive it home. So we're back home from the road trip. I know this setup is kind of ghetto, but it's the best way to get any sort of decent audio for these closing thoughts. So for these closing thoughts, I want to go over things I didn't already mention in the rest of the video. First thing I want to go over is that little hiccup I mentioned earlier on. What that was on the second stop on my way up. I'd say I was probably 250 to 300 miles in at that point. This was 3 hours after the first stop. The transmission on that second stop didn't feel good, so as I was getting off the freeway and I shifted back into first and then second and third as we went to the gas station, it felt really like there was a lot of play and the transmission just didn't feel good at that stop, right? So that was like the hiccup that I mentioned, but literally after I filled up gas, the trans was like all good again. So it just happened to be during that specific exit, and then all the other stops and the rest of the time through the trip, the trans was fine. But that was something that I felt was worth mentioning. Another thing is that my car is all stock aside from the Titan 7 wheels and the Club Racer pads, right? So essentially this was an experience with a stock car, stock suspension, stock power. So I didn't have any issues with like overheating or anything like that. And like I mentioned, the ride was super comfortable because I had access to comfort mode with the car being in stock form. The fact that the car has tons of power makes it really practical and enjoyable for this trip, because there are certain sections like the uphill section of the Grapevine where a lower powered car might struggle, but this car being 306 horsepower, 295 torque, pulls through that section without any problems, right? And even the hills in San Francisco, because the car just has so much power, it just makes it super easy to drive. Whereas a less powerful car might not have as good a time during uphill sections specifically. Road tripping with a car like this has always been something I've wanted to do. Like other times that I've visited San Francisco, I've always wanted to take pictures with like my old S2000 there or the EG there, but the S2000 was on super stiff coilovers, like going over any pothole would just break your back, literally. The EG had solid mounts and a swap, and of course I just wouldn't want to get anything stolen from that car. You know, I've been to those landmarks like the bridges and stuff like that, and I've always wanted to take a picture of my cars there. But none of them could really get there comfortably, but the Type R can, because it's just so good out of the box and it looks great, right? Well, that's, I guess, subjective, but I think it looks great. And yes, I would like if it was a little low, but I cannot give up the comforts of the stock suspension. But the Type R is that special car that I could take there and actually enjoy the ride there and do all the things I'd want to do up there and then still get shots of my special car, right? So of course there's so much usable space and everything. With my trip being as short and spontaneous as it was, all I did was throw in 2 bags, but you know, you have tons of space with it being a hatchback and the back seats and everything. And yeah, it's just perfect. This car as a road trip car was perfect. Small gas tank, so you will need to fill up gas, but it's actually pretty all right on gas if you're on the freeway. I was averaging 31 the whole freeway drive there. But other than that, yeah, the Type R was a perfect car for me to take up to travel for a little road trip like that and enjoy my car, you know, have that travel experience with my special car. So yeah, I guess that's my final thoughts on it. Super enjoyable car for a trip. It's really a car that you can just pack up the night before or even the day of and then just go. It'll get you wherever you want to go comfortably, safe and sound, and you sure as hell will enjoy your way there. That's it for my Type R road trip experience, guys. If you enjoyed, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, leave a like on the video, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already.